And I know they really wish we would fall till we fall. I'm the big bad wolf, there's a full moon, y'all.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a gun comparison between this weapon right here, the Legal Action Pulse Rifle, Legal Action 2 from the New Monarchy. We just got it for winning. If you guys were in the New Monarchy, you can go pick it up for 1,000 points or Glimmer, and if you were not in it, then you obviously have to go pick it up for 50,000, which I think is outrageous for a weapon this bad. I'm sorry, but this gun is not good. I don't think any of the 320 Pulse Rifles are any good. They just, they don't really shine in any area besides the range. So there's that. And then pretty much like stability has to be really high for it to, consistently headshot, because this weapon is terrible in PvP. You guys will see when I do the PvP clips, I could not get anything for you guys. I'm sorry. I just really could not use this weapon. I eventually ended up just switching and, using a Uriel or a Positive Outlook with the Mida, just because it's really annoying. So pretty much this is the setup I have over here. I don't like to run the iron sight. It just looks a little weird to me. It does change the handling, but I like to have the maximum amount of range, because these weapons do have good range, and that's pretty much what you want. You just want to try and have the best range. Right here we have the LD Watchdog, so you can get a scope on it if you want. We have accurized rounds, high caliber rounds, which I honestly think the high caliber rounds are probably better, just for the fact that you can, make someone flinch more. And then we have Rampage, which kills with this weapon temporarily grant increased damage, and it stacks to 3. I'm not 100% on the, the buff, I guess, whatever it would be called, the buff, or what's the percentage of it, but you do get extra damage every single time you get a kill. It goes like, I think it's like 81 to 87 and then 98 or something like that. It's in the clips later on. You guys will see when I'm playing PvE. It does pretty good in PvE, but even then the clip size is extremely small at 27, and the RPM is just so slow that you really can't kill an enemy too quickly. So I really don't personally like this weapon, but that's pretty much the overview for this entire gun. I will take all this stuff away so you guys can get a better look at it, and then we're going to look at the next weapon. Alright, here is the next weapon. It is the Relentless Pulse Rifle from Trials of the 9. If you guys don't have this weapon, then you have to play the Trials of the 9. You have to get at least, I think, 3 wins, so you guys can get just some tokens to get there in the first place. Over here are the stats. I actually will do a stat by, a stat side by side, which I don't know why I did this, but I cut it out when I could easily just hover over the two, but I cut them out and I put them on their own thumbnail, so I'm going to do that in a second, so you guys will be able to see both these weapons right after, and then we're going to do a recoil test, and then pretty much just go into the game clips after that. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about pretty much these weapons and how I think Destiny 2 can improve the pulse rifles, or at least these ones. These 320 ones, they seem good, but they're never really that great. Like, the impact on them is extremely nice. I got a message from Xbox Live. The range is pretty good. This stability is kind of low, but you can change this over here. This is just the way I personally like to run it. I don't really think the stability does too much for it, but you guys can change the stability right there. Then we have the slideways, which is really good. This one makes it so if you slide, you get, a temporary boost to your stability and handling, plus you get some of the mag back. I'm not 100% sure on how much of the mag it comes back either, but then we have Head Seeker, which is probably the best thing to use for this, honestly, because if you hit him in the body and then you hit him in the head, you will get increased damage. In PvP, it goes from a 26 damage to the head to a 28, which isn't too crazy, but it does help you when you're hitting body shots, because the body shots are extremely low, and that's one thing that I think they can change. And you guys can see the handling is extremely low, but personally it has snapshot sights, so it does aim down very quickly. And like I said, magazine size is very lackluster, and pretty much this gun is nothing special. It really doesn't feel that great in PvE. It's really bad in PvP, especially when you have full autos going at 450 rounds per minute, and they just, do pretty much the exact same amount of damage. It's pretty sad, but that's pretty much it. Now we're gonna go into the side by side of stats, and then we're gonna go ahead and look at the recoil patterns. Alright, so here are the stats side by side. I took the liberty of, highlighting whatever is better on which gun in green, and as you guys can see, the Legal Action actually has 3 greens versus, 1 green on the Relentless, and these are just base stats. And here are the recoil patterns right here, which they both pretty much have 0 recoil. They kind of just, like shake, and then they do like little burst, I guess, obviously because they're 3-round burst. And personally, I think the Relentless has less recoil, and it's not even the fact that it just has more stability. It's just the fact that it just feels like it has less recoil in general. When you're using it, you feel like you have less recoil, You guys can see right here, I'm using the legal action in the beginning, and I'm trying to show you guys how much Rampage can do. So I try to get a spot where, you know, I could really hit a lot of enemies pretty quickly or in quick succession. So the fact that, you know, you guys can really see the amount of damage. So it goes from 81 headshot to 89, and, you know, then it continues to go up with whatever amounts of, you know, modifiers you have. I can't really, you know, tell. I guess it's like 10% each time. So what is that? Yeah, it looks about 10% of whatever your base damage is, it goes up by. So if you're doing 81, that's why it does 89, because 10% is, you know, 8. But anyways, now we're using the Relentless, and, you know, I mean, personally, I feel like the Relentless just is a better weapon. It just feels a little bit nicer. You can't really get a good feel for the body shot, you know, with the headshot. Like, you know, I don't even know what it's called. I forgot. Head Seeker. You can't really get a feel for that. It doesn't really feel that good in PvE. It feels a lot better in PvP, which I actually don't really mind because I don't use these guns ever. So, I mean, if someone's going to use it against me, I'd prefer them, you know, to get the good feeling in multiplayer versus like doing it in, you know, PvE, which honestly, it doesn't do good against anything. The Head Seeker doesn't really feel that well in this game. It feels really weak. It feels kind of underwhelming. From what I remember in Destiny 1, Head Seeker was a really clutch perk, and it made the Messenger one of the best weapons in the entire game. And these clips are so bad, I just could not manage to, you know, get any kills. And it's pretty much because the fire rate is so slow. And the base damage on a body shot is 16 damage when the headshot is 26. So just the fact that it's a 16 damage body shot is completely terrible. I think the Uriel's gift does like 20, no. It does 18 or something like that to the body, and that weapon's fully automatic, and it shoots faster. So I don't understand why this weapon is so bad. I don't understand why both the guns are terrible with body shot damage. I feel like if they can up the body shot damage, maybe these weapons might see, you know, some usage in the Crucible, or even just like in general, because I never see someone use a pulse rifle, and I can see why. These are the worst game clips I've ever gotten. This is the worst matches I've ever played. They are the worst weapons I've ever used, probably. I just cannot get used to these 320, you know, pulse rifles at all. And if you guys can use them, then by all means go ahead and use them. I personally can't. I feel like they're just completely useless and so weak that you just really shouldn't even have them on a class. You should probably just break them. So for this to be one of the weapons that you actually unlock through, you know, the faction rally win, that's pretty underwhelming. I really would have preferred to get the Future War Colts 150 scout rifle, just for the fact that the 150 scout rifles actually aren't bad if you have not used them. If you can actually team shot someone, you can kill them in like literally under a second, because you will do 52 damage to the head with your weapon. So I mean, these weapons to do as low damage as they do, it's so underwhelming. It's so not worth it. If you guys would just use a 360 or even the 540s or the 450s, I personally believe that the Nightshade and the Autumn Wind are the best pulse rifles in the game, plus the Vigilance Wing, of course. So if you guys are going to use anything, please do not use these. I don't even see them like being used in PvE versus bosses or anything like that. Yes, they have good range. Yes, they have easy controllability, good stability and stuff like that. And, you know, the handling is not really that bad on these weapons, but personally the damage is just so low that they should not be in the game. That's just my opinion. If you guys like these types of weapons, or you guys, you know, only use these weapons, then, you know, don't listen to me. Just keep using whatever you're using. Personally, I would go with a 450 auto rifle or just anything else, you know, pretty much. I'd even use a sidearm over these, because the sidearms do about the exact same amount for the headshot damage, you know, 26, and to the body they actually do 20, which is by far way better than doing 16, because at 16 you're going to need way too many shots, and if you're not hitting headshots with these weapons, you're just not going to get kills. It's pretty sad to see that you have to hit 3, you know, bursts to the head just to get a kill versus, you know, what is it, 8 or 9 shots with the Uriel's gift. So I mean, just by the stats in general, I would not recommend anyone use these weapons. I would just recommend you have them just for the fact that, you know, you can have a full collection. These aren't really that good. They aren't that viable. There's so many better weapons out there. There's so many better, you know, just things in general. Just you can get more damage on someone with just the throwing knife. So, I mean, personally, just don't use these weapons. But that's all I have for this video. If you guys did enjoy, please hit that like button. I'll be doing some more gun comparisons later on. I just wanted to get this one out of the way because this weapon's new, and that's pretty much it though. So I will see you guys in the next video.
I'm with from a boy to a man, now it's back to the boy. I've been getting off track, now it's back to the morgue. I've been killing all these rappers and they asking for more. They've been saying I'm the greatest, better bask in the glory. I'm sick of fake friends and what they said to me. Hating on your boy, oh, I can see the jealousy. They don't desire leaving legacies, but I'm alive.